We spend majority of the time doing the same simple tasks. We brush our teeth, we prepare our breakfast, we do the dishes, and we commute to school or to work. And lately I've been wondering, how present am I while doing these daily things? I've noticed I need to watch something while I eat, or listen to something while in the subway. I feel the need to have a show on while I cook. Basically, there's a constant need for noise to accompany my daily tasks, because otherwise, how boring would commuting to work get? Or how boring is cleaning the home going to be? My attention always seems to be everywhere except for in the here and now. And when I'm not busy doing some sort of task, I still notice that I spend my time scrolling on my phone or consuming in another way, and I just feel like my attention isn't in the right place. One of the very few times during the day when I fully aim to focus my attention on one task is during prayer. And even during prayer, I sometimes struggle with focus, and I want to improve. I feel like life is not supposed to be a task so boring it needs background noise to feel complete. The daily tasks, the mundane parts of your day, that is what essentially fills up your life. So in today's video, I want to share with you how I am focusing my attention on one thing at a time, and this way trying to become more focused and present. I'll be sharing bits and pieces of podcasts that I've been listening to or books that I've been reading and what I've been learning from them with regard to becoming more present. So let's get into it. I read a quote that said, "If life is a never-ending loop of dirty dishes and laundry, then that means life is a never-ending loop of home-cooked meals and comfy, clean clothes." And hearing this really changed something inside of me. I personally don't have a dishwasher in my home, and when people ask if I have one, I jokingly say I am the dishwasher. And for a long time, I've seen doing the dishes as a chore I would rather postpone forever, something that I wish could just magically be done. I completely forget that just 30 minutes before, the plates were used for a lovely meal with family or just a delicious lunch by myself. Then there is also another quote that I would like to share. The concept of appreciating what you have while you have it is not a new one. As Buddhist monk Thich Nhat Hanh would say, to wash the dishes whilst washing the dishes. According to Han, we only hate doing the dishes when we're not actually doing them. Most of the discomfort in our life stems from the inability to be present, to appreciate the moment for what it is while we're in it. If we were present, if we didn't let our minds wander outside of the moment when we're standing at the sink, we would find doing the dishes a pleasant task. Because the task of washing dishes, of dipping our hands in warm soapy water, or letting the fresh water run out of the tap whilst cleaning up from a meal that satisfied and nourished us, is an overall pleasant human experience. If you can get into it, it's nice, it's meditative. But we stop seeing that way because we're too busy, wishing for something else, wishing for a dishwasher, wishing for a maid, wishing for it to be tomorrow, wishing for anything that isn't right now. And then, when the moment is over, when the years have passed and we can no longer wash our own dishes because we're too old or too weak or too sick, or are now washing dishes for one when we used to wash for two, we'll wish we had that moment back. That pleasant moment of standing in our home, hands in warm water, bodies and hearts full, our whole life ahead of us, slowly washing dishes. Like children, we seem to only want things when we can't have them. We want our looks after we lost them. We want our youth when we've grown out of it. We want the past when we're in the future. How many times will we have to be told, appreciate what you have whilst you have it? How many times will we miss the point? This quote also takes us to the Islamic way of looking at being mindful and present, as the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Take advantage of your 5 before 5, your youth before your old age, your health before your sickness, your wealth before your poverty, your free time before your preoccupation, and your life before your death." In Islam, we're often reminded to reflect on the everyday moments in life, no matter how simple they may seem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala teaches us that there are signs of His wisdom and power in everything. In the Quran, there is a beautiful verse that says, "Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth, and the alternation of the night and day, are signs for those of understanding." This verse calls us to pay attention to the world around us. When we slow down and focus on our daily lives, whether it's the sunrise, the changing seasons, or even something as routine as washing the dishes, we start to see the deeper meaning behind these moments. And a key concept in this is muraqabah, or watchfulness, which involves reflecting on your actions, your thoughts, and your feelings with the awareness that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always observing you. And one of the most important mindfulness practice in Islam is doing a dhikr, or the remembrance of Allah. By reciting specific phrases such as Subhanallah or Alhamdulillah, you ground yourself spiritually. Of course, our salah, our prayer, is another powerful mindfulness practice, because it's not just about physical movements, but fully immersing yourself in your connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because when you focus entirely on your prayer and you let go of all the distractions that you have in your dunya, you're practicing mindfulness at its core, by being fully present with your Creator. Another essential part of Islamic mindfulness is silence, because in a world full of noise and distractions, taking a moment of silence allows you to reflect and listen to your inner thoughts and become more aware of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's presence. It helps you disconnect from external chaos and find clarity within. And remember that this quiet reflection can also be an act of worship, because it also reminds you of the blessings that often go unnoticed in this crazy, busy, everyday life. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ often observed silence for long periods of time, and it is said that silence is a form of wisdom, yet few people practice it. Learn to be silent. If you need a little bit of help with getting yourself to the here and now, I would highly recommend getting yourself a few beautiful things for in your home. Something that you walk by during the day and you notice. For me, flowers really help with that. Every time I put up flowers in my home and I walk past them, I just feel so joyful whenever I see them. The stream of thought that I was just having gets disrupted by the thought, wow, subhanallah, look how beautiful those flowers are. And this happens every time I walk past them. So a physical reminder to get you back to the here and now doesn't need to be a sign saying, hey, get back to the here and now. It can be flowers, it can be fall decorations or decorations in general. I also think that by beautifying your home, you can really increase the amounts of gratitude that you have during the day, because every time you look at a certain piece or artwork, you think subhanallah or alhamdulillah, because you're just so grateful to have that daily beautiful thing in your life. And I'm not really someone who would promote consumerism, so I'm definitely not saying that you should buy all the different things from the stores that are promoting seasonal decorations, or that you should get the most expensive flowers every week. I'm just saying, try to find the small little things that bring you back to the here and now, and maybe just consider it as an investment for your gratitude, or an investment to get you to stay grounded and present. In Islam, we are encouraged to do everything we do with excellence, with ihsan. Now let us ask ourselves a question. Are we really doing everything we do with ihsan if we are also at the same time doing something else? So let's take the example of cooking. I am very much used to watching or listening to a show, a podcast, or a lecture while I am cooking. And even though a lecture or a podcast can definitely be beneficial, I wonder, how well am I doing the task of cooking if I am at the same time also subconsciously or consciously listening to something else. I think that if I were to cook with excellence, I should have my full focus on the task of cooking. That's also why I think one good idea for you to increase your focus during a task such as cooking is to try something new. Because if you really want to excel at a recipe, you really have to focus on what the recipe says. You have to keep looking at the dish to see if everything is going well. Trying something new, whether it's with cooking, baking, making a new drink, or going on a walk, it pushes you to stay alert and also have your full attention. Finally, I would like to share a few wisdoms from the book Ikigai that I've been reading lately. In the book, there were many words of wisdom from the longest living people in the world, and one that I found to be very interesting was when a 112-year-old man said, "If you keep your mind and body busy, you'll be around a long time." Another person said, "Do many different things every day. Always stay busy, but doing one thing at a time, without getting overwhelmed." From these quotes, I would say, if you want to live a life that is filled with more mindfulness, more focus, keep your hands busy. It sounds super logical, but if you are busy making a cake, you cannot be busy scrolling on your phone. If you are actively creating, it almost becomes impossible to not be in the here and now. Then finally, I would like to end this video with another quote from the book Ikigai, a quote that I find very wholesome. "The secret to a long life is going to bed early, waking up early and going for a walk, living peacefully and enjoying the little things, getting along with your friends. Spring, summer, fall, winter. Enjoy each season happily." So that was all for today's video. I hope you enjoyed hearing me yap about everything that I've been learning lately, and I'll see you in the next video.